All right, welcome to the show, y'all. We are in it deep today. Today is going to be a huge, huge show. So in just a second, we have major breaking news about Trump's secret plot to destroy the court system, including the Supreme Court. There's a provision that very few people noticed that was slipped into his big, beautiful bill, and you'll see just how devastating this is and how it's a crime that very, very few people are actually talking about this. So we'll get into that. I also have Mehdi Hasan is done with pro-Israel propagandists. He does a great segment laying out in excruciating detail why what we're witnessing is indeed a genocide in Gaza. I also have some updates on the ground from Gaza for you. We have Hassan Piker was suspended from Twitch. I'll tell you why. Ken Klippenstein got a visit from the FBI. He was grilled by the FBI. That's a scary-ass situation. And then later on, we have some MAGA Republicans are turning on Trump's big, beautiful bill. The group Anonymous is teasing something massive to come out soon. Joe Rogan is, I was going to say slowly but surely, but it's not even slowly but surely. He's just turning into a Christian fundamentalist. I wish this wasn't the case, y'all, but the videos speak for themselves. Then we'll also get into Andrew Schultz and Charlemagne go full socialist after one conversation with Bernie Sanders. And Bill Burr also perfectly explains the problem with MAGA. So we have all that and more. Everybody, please do me a huge favor. Click that subscribe button. That helps out big time and costs you nothing. It spreads these videos throughout the algorithm, which helps the channel a lot. Thank you to everybody who supports the show on Patreon as well. As you all know, we couldn't do it without you. This is real, independent, grassroots media, one of very few. We're a dying breed out there, but you guys keep us what we are. You pay $2 a month, $5 a month, $7 a month as a tip. It helps out tremendously. Remember, I've never talked to an advertiser. I've never done an ad read. I'm super proud of that fact. That could not have been the case without your help. Also, thank you to everybody who supports Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. That link is below if you'd like to sign up there as well. And while we're at it, of course, let me say, go subscribe to the Corin's World YouTube channel because we're posting all the Kyle and Corin episodes over there, and we still haven't missed a week since we started posting it on his channel. So go sub to the Corin's World YouTube channel. All right, let's go ahead and get into this, y'all. We got a lot of stuff to get to. So I really can't overstate this. It's impossible to overstate this. This is such a giant deal, and it's not getting nearly as much coverage as it needs to get because, as you all know, Trump has a plan. The plan is to overwhelm everybody every single day so you can't focus on all of the bad things that he's doing and rip all of the bad things. You have to pick your battles. You have to choose. And unfortunately, because of that, we get double-digit stuff every day that, like, nobody talks about. And this is gigantic, y'all. So as you all know, Trump's big, beautiful bill is quite possibly one of the worst things that ever happened to this country. It passed the House. It's up for a vote in the Senate. It hasn't passed the Senate yet. There's a question as to whether or not it will pass the Senate. But as you know, this is massive tax cuts for the rich. It screws the working class colossally. It massively cuts Medicaid and even Medicare. This is really the death of the American experiment, if I'm being blunt about it. It really is. Like, this country cannot survive a bill like this at this point in time. So one of the provisions in there, and here, let me show you this article from Newsweek, hidden provision in Trump's big bill could disarm the U.S. Supreme Court. A provision hidden in the sweeping budget bill that passed the U.S. House on Thursday seeks to limit the ability of courts, including the Supreme Court, from enforcing their orders. Quote, no court of the United States may use appropriated funds to enforce a contempt citation for failure to comply with an injunction or temporary restraining order if no security was given when the injunction or order was issued. The provision in the bill, which is more than 1,000 pages long, says the provision would make most existing injunctions in antitrust cases, police reform cases, school desegregation cases, and others unenforceable. Erwin Chemerinsky, the dean of the University of California, Berkeley School of Law, told Newsweek, it serves no purpose but to weaken the power of the federal courts. So do you understand what they're saying there? They're saying, even though the court really doesn't have a great enforcement mechanism for their orders, let's take away whatever tools they do have. That's what they're saying here. They continue. The provision would prohibit courts from enforcing contempt citations for violations of injunctions or temporary restraining orders, the main types of rulings that have been used to rein in President Trump's administration, unless the plaintiffs have paid a bond, something that rarely happens when someone sues the government. So, I mean, look, I've literally lost count, but we got to be at least double digits on the number of contempt citations, or actually, that's not the case, the violations of injunctions or temporary restraining orders. We have to be in double digits with this Trump regime on that front. It's seemingly every day or every other day that they get hit with something about how, hey, Doge is not legally allowed to dismantle U.S. aid. You have to hire the people back. Hey, you're not allowed to destroy the Department of Education. Hey, you're not allowed to give people no habeas corpus, no due process, and ship them to a concentration camp in El Salvador. The courts truly are doing their jobs. In fact, I saw a statistic recently. I forget where it came from, but it was like over 90% of the court decisions are cutting against the Trump regime. Not because they, irrationally have a bone to pick with him, but because he keeps violating the law. That's what's happening. Well, they're trying to stop any sort of pushback against this, any pushback whatsoever. All right, they continue. If enacted, it would be a stunning restriction on the power of federal courts, Kulinski wrote in an article for Just Security. The Supreme Court has long recognized that the contempt power is integral to the authority of the federal courts. Without the ability to enforce judicial orders, they are rendered mere advisory opinions which parties are free to disregard. Kulinski wrote that federal courts rarely require a bond to be posted by those who are restraining unconstitutional federal, state, or local government actions, as those seeking such orders do not have the resources to post a bond, and insisting on it would immunize unconstitutional government conduct from judicial review. Representative Joe Neguse, a Colorado Democrat, said in an interview that the provision was added because the Trump administration is losing in virtually every court in the land. Guys, that is literally correct. We've covered stories on this show about how a Trump-appointed judge in Texas, of all places, slapped down his deportations under the Alien Enemies Act. Stop and think about that. This is Trump's, in his mind, his crowning achievement, invoking the Alien Enemies Act and rounding up innocent people and shipping them out of the country. You have a Trump-appointed judge who not only disagreed with it, not only slapped it down, but he really, really chastised Trump and berated him and said, this is nowhere even close to legal, bro. They say dozens of lawsuits have been filed since Trump returned to office, challenging his executive orders and actions taken by his administration. Judges have partially or fully blocked the president in at least 82 cases. And guys, this article is from maybe, 3-4 days ago. It could be more by now. The administration has been pushing back against court rulings it doesn't like, with the president lashing out at judges who rule against him and seeking an end to nationwide injunctions. The Supreme Court earlier in May barred the administration from quickly resuming deportations of Venezuelans under the Alien Enemies Act. Meanwhile, U.S. District Judge Paul Zinnes has expressed frustration that the administration has yet to provide information that adequately explained how it was complying with her order, which was upheld by the Supreme Court, to facilitate the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a man who was wrongly deported to El Salvador. And last month, another federal judge said he found probable cause to hold the administration in criminal contempt after ignoring his order to turn around planes carrying deportees to El Salvador. District Judge James E. Boasberg said he would initiate hearings and may refer the matter for prosecution if the administration does not act to remedy the violation. The administration has also removed immigrants against court orders in other cases. The provision in the House bill would make the court orders in these cases completely unenforceable. Guys, we already have a problem where they struggle to have any sort of enforcement mechanism. This would take away the one tool they do have. Quote, indeed, the bill is stunning in its scope. It would apply to all temporary restraining orders, preliminary injunctions, and even permanent injunctions ever issued. Ever issued. Guys, this is nothing short of a complete fascist coup. That's what this is. Kulinski also wrote, without the contempt power, judicial orders are meaningless and can be ignored. That's exactly what Trump wants. That's exactly what he's doing in many cases. And by the way, let me say, I'm actually concerned when they try to do criminal contempt. I'm actually concerned that then Trump is just going to turn around and pardon himself or pardon Stephen Miller or Kristi Noem or Pam Bondi or whoever in his administration is doing these horrible actions. That's why I've said they should actually do civil contempt and use that to fine the DHS workers who are doing the dirty work, fine the ICE Gestapo who are doing the dirty work, and go as far as to freeze their bank accounts. So now, when an ICE Gestapo officer gets the order from the higher-ups, hey, you got to go deport this person. Meanwhile, the person's got no criminal record. They might be an American citizen, right? You're rounding them up and shipping them to a slave labor camp. They have to stop and think twice. and go, well, the last guy who did this got his bank accounts frozen. And in that scenario, by the way, there's nothing Trump can do to try to help the DHS, to try to help ICE. There's nothing he can do. So that's why I think civil contempt is the way to go. Now, of course, these people know the law way better than I do because they're judges. They're experts on this stuff. I'm just an asshole with a loud mouth on YouTube. Having said that, I think everybody sort of intuitively understands that if there's any wiggle room or any out for Trump when it comes to criminal contempt, he's going to use that, right? And so I think it's inevitable that even if they do go down the line of criminal contempt, that Trump is just waiting to be like, pardon, everybody's pardoned. Everybody's pardoned and you can keep doing it. Because I told you, he has no guardrails now, y'all. There's nothing holding him back. There are no constraints. There is no General Mark Milley behind the scenes going, sir, we're not going to do the Insurrection Act and invoke martial law and deploy U.S. soldiers in our own streets. Sir, we're not going to shoot protesters in the leg. Nobody's there to say these things. Now you're surrounded by sycophants and psychopaths. And there are consequences to that. All right, let's continue. A spokesman for the House Ways and Means Committee told CNN that the goal is to stop frivolous lawsuits. Oh, please. Nagu said on X, formerly Twitter, that the provision basically would attempt to try to stop federal courts or limit the ability of federal courts to enforce contempt orders. Why? Because they know that they are, the Trump administration, losing in virtually every court in the land. So we went through that. Anyway, this is a huge deal, y'all. And it is a crime that this isn't breaking news on CNN. It is a crime that MSNBC may have talked about it. I don't know. But this needs to be blasted out from every corner of the media as far as the eye can see. And everybody needs to be calling their senators to effectively tell them, you are cooked forever if you support this bill. This bill is fundamentally fascist, un-American. It's also part of the robber baron coup because it destroys the social safety net. If this bill passes, this country is done. It's done. I mean, I know it sounds hyperbolic, but it's actually, I think, factually true. That's where we're at. And so, could you imagine for a second it was a Democratic president, Joe Biden or Barack Obama, who tried to slip a provision like this into a bill? What would the reaction of the right have been? We all know. They would have moved to impeach by the end of the fucking day. They would have called him every name, tyrant, dictator, fascist, autocrat, whatever, king, whatever word you want to use. And they would absolutely move to impeach and remove. And you would also, by the way, get crossover Democratic votes who agree and say, yeah, the president can't do this. This is crazy. Trying to take away all semblance of checks and balances. But Trump does it. And again, nobody's talking about it. Nowhere near enough people are talking about it. It's truly unacceptable. So this is a huge story. Trump trying to destroy the courts and remove what remains of any semblance of checks and balances. Let's also talk now about, so this is totally unprecedented, what he's doing on that front. But another area where it's totally unprecedented is his corruption. His corruption is just astonishing. It's hit astronomical levels that nobody ever thought possible. And so I'm sure you guys have heard about this, but he recently held a crypto dinner at Mar-a-Lago. And this thing was just an open grab bag of corruption and favoritism and self-dealing. It really is mind-boggling. So here we have a little CNN piece on it. Let's watch and then we'll discuss.
A winning night for crypto billionaires and for Donald Trump. A rare look tonight inside the private black-tie dinner with President Trump and more than 200 wealthy investors at the Trump National Golf Club near Washington. It was closed to the public and press, but wide open to those investing hundreds of millions of dollars in the Trump family's cryptocurrency accounts. One guest of honor, Justin Sun, a Chinese crypto billionaire and one of Trump's best customers, showing off his prize of a $100,000 watch. On X, he wrote, "As the top holder of Trump, I'm excited to connect with everyone, talk crypto, and discuss the future of our industry."
This guy was under federal government investigation for committing massive fraud. He was under investigation. He is a criminal. He is a thug. He is a gangster. Trump drops those charges and welcomes him to Mar-a-Lago with open arms. Why? Because he's giving Trump a tremendous amount of money.
Nice place. Did you get to see the helicopters?
The investors, many of whom flew to Washington from outside the country, dined on Trump organic field green salad, filet mignon, and pan-seared halibut, followed by warm lava cake. U.S. law prohibits foreign nationals from making political contributions, but no such rules apply to crypto investments. For Sun, it's the latest act of a high-flying life, well documented on social media. He's perhaps best known for a $6 million banana duct taped to a wall, which he bought and ate.
This is who Trump is buddy-buddy with. This is who he's making deals with. It's so hilarious that this guy ever was able to brand himself as some sort of like populist looking out for the forgotten man and woman, looking out for the working class, bro. This was the bullshit we were told about Trump, and that his supporters fell for hook, line, and sinker. Well, here he is cutting corrupt deals with a crypto billionaire who bought a $6 million banana and ate it. I've never seen anything more elitist, more out of touch than this.
2 years ago, during the Biden administration, the Securities and Exchange Commission charged Sun with fraud and market manipulation. After Trump returned to office, the legal action was paused. Sun's publicity stunts include paying $4.6 million for a charity lunch with Warren Buffett before canceling at the last minute. He ponied up $28 million for a seat on one of Blue Origin's first manned space flights, but canceled that too.
So this is, to me, this guy sounds like the Chinese Elon Musk or Donald Trump, or a mix of the two, right? Just like a troll, asshole, criminal who thinks his shit doesn't stink and he's God's gift to the earth. Meanwhile, he's like one of the worst people alive.
Sun holds more than $20 million in the Trump meme coin and invested $75 million in World Liberty Financial, a Trump family crypto company. The White House did not release a list of guests, saying it was a private dinner and the president was attending in his personal time. Nicholas Pinto, a social media influencer and investor, was among those posting videos.
Well, there's a leaderboard here, so I get to see what I see online in person. I found myself, and I just signed it.
Amid an outcry of protests and accusations of corruption, the White House defended the event.
The president is abiding by all conflict of interest laws that are applicable to the president. It's absurd for anyone to insinuate that this president is profiting off of the presidency.
It's absurd, she said. It's absurd to insinuate this president is profiting off of the president. It's absurd to insinuate that. It's absurd. Well, fascist Barbie, what about the tens of millions, or potentially hundreds of millions, that Trump is making directly from the Saudi Arabian government for the live golf events that happen at his courses? What about that? What about the fact that he pretended to divest from his businesses in his first term, but he didn't do that at all, and he profited massively? What about that? He's not pretending this time around. What about the $160 million that he made from foreign countries as president? What are you talking? Like, how can she just say some shit like that? It's amazing to me how right-wing politics is just fundamentally built on shamelessly lie over and over and over. He's selling NFTs. He has a crypto exchange. He has trading cards. He has watches that don't exist that sell for $100,000 a pop. When they launched those watches, there was a disclaimer on the page that said, this is not the actual watch you're going to get. Why? Because it was just a money laundering scheme for foreign billionaires to send him hundreds of thousands or potentially even millions of dollars at a time. That's what it was. Jared took $2 billion from Saudi Arabia, as you all know. They're working on a $500 million project right now in Oman. His charity was a fraud. His university was a fraud. I mean, it's incredible, bro. It's incredible. We live in hell. This is like Twilight Zone shit. They're pissing on you and saying that it's raining.
It's absurd for anyone to insinuate that this president is profiting off of the presidency.
Yet that's precisely what the dinner was intended to do, benefit the president, rather than the GOP or a political committee like most fundraising dinners do. Democrats called the promotional dinner a major conflict of interest.
And in effect, he's putting a for sale sign on the White House. It is truly putting this president on a Mount Rushmore of corruption.
Now, for all the black tie dinners that all presidents hold, Erica, this one was extraordinarily different. We have never seen one like this because it benefited the president's business personally as well as his golf club, of course, just outside Washington. But Justin Sun, for his account, was afraid to come to the U.S. for years for fear of being arrested. But today, I'm told, he arrived here for a private tour at the White House. Erica?
That is quite a shift, is it not?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Look, he needs to be locked up. I mean, it really is that simple. If we're even going to pretend to get back to a system where we have rules and laws and order, this is the guy who's law and order. He used to say it all the time. Law and order. Of course, he would only bring it up when there were like black people protesting the murder of an unarmed black person. There, he's against that, and it's a law and order, law and order. It's law and order for everybody but him, where he gets to violate the law on a regular basis. This guy needs to be impeached. He needs to be removed. He needs to be locked up. And shame on any fucking Republican who would circle the wagons and defend this loathsome cretin. Because we all know, if you had the exact same set of facts and you had Barack Obama do it, or Joe Biden do it, or Kamala Harris do it, they would be screaming bloody murder. They still fucking talk about Hunter Biden's corruption today. Hunter Biden's corruption is not even 1/1000 that of the Trump regime. They still talk about Hillary Clinton's corruption, not 1/100th that of the Trump regime. I mean, this is, again, it is so naked. It is so obvious what's happening here. Now, by the way, I swear to God, y'all, I will log on to social media or read the news, and I learn about a new corrupt scheme that's being uncovered literally every week. Here's the new one that I didn't know about until just the other day. NBC News says Vietnam's Prime Minister and President Trump's son, Eric, held a groundbreaking ceremony on Wednesday for a $1.5 billion luxury residential development with 3 18-hole golf courses outside Hanoi. $1.5 billion luxury residential development, a Trump development with the government of Vietnam, in the country of Vietnam. This is happening while he's president. While he's president. I know you all know this, but Jimmy Carter had to sell his peanut farm because the idea was, hey, he hasn't taken any money from foreign governments through his peanut farm or foreign billionaires. But it sets up the potential for a conflict of interest where a foreign government or billionaire might start sending him money through his peanut farm. Therefore, he's got to sell it because even just having it in the first place might be a violation of the emoluments clause. Well, fast forward now to 2025, and look at what Donald Trump is doing. Look at what he's doing. I mean, this is laughable. This is grotesque. This makes the United States an absolute laughingstock on the world stage. Because everything is for sale under the Trump regime. By the way, at the same time, he's making these lucrative deals with all these foreign governments and all these foreign billionaires. What's he doing? Slashing Meals on Wheels, slashing Medicaid, slashing pediatric cancer research and science funding. Criminal through and through. There is no justice if this man doesn't end up at some point behind bars for every single thing that he's done here. This is beyond egregious. He's making a mockery of our entire system and our entire country. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.